I'd like to call this meeting, Springfield Local School District Board of Education, to order. We'd like to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Mr. Hess.
Here.
Mr. Dinkins.
Here.
Mrs. Dodson.
Here.
Mrs. Collins.
Here.
Mr. Hofer.
Here.
Item number 4, Race to the Top update presentation. Presentation by Denise Densack and Ann Phillips. Oh, here she comes.
There she is.
Perfect timing.
Denzack's like, where's my partner? Where's she at?
I'm going to report about the Great Teachers, Great Leaders Evaluation Systems, Part D of the Race to the Top grant. And on March 5th, our committee and also Jenny Ganser, who's heading the Principals Committee, attended the conference at Mansfield at the Mid-Ohio Educational Service Center to learn more about the Ohio Teacher Evaluation System, OTES, O-T-E-S. And this new teacher evaluation will hold teachers as well as students accountable. It'll be 50% what teachers do, 50% what students do, student growth. And also there'll be a new principal evaluation that will also be partially based on student growth. The 50% for the teachers comes from the Ohio Educator Standards, which has been out for 7 years now. We've had those for 7 years. The 50% for the student growth part comes from several different places. One place it comes from is from the state tests, OAA tests, and value added is for reading and math, grades 4 through 8. And if the value added is available, it must be used, but it does not have to be used exclusively. There's other measures that can be used to see student growth. Some of those other measures are ODE approved vendor assessments, locally developed measures, and OEA will perform audits to make sure that those are up to snuff, up to their standards, and there'll also be end of course exams. Those are just some of the other things that they have talked about at this point using for the 50%. So that 50% student growth goes way beyond using just the state test, just the OAA test. And the teachers and administrators will be collaborating on the best ways to measure growth. The OTES, Ohio Teacher Evaluation System, does not have to be used. The state measurement does not have to be used, but all the areas that are in the state measurement need to be used locally. If the locals decide to use their own measurement, everything has to be aligned with what the state is using. So it's reliable and fair and consistent across the state. Our committee from Race to the Top has met several times to look at teacher evaluations from other districts. Bill Burkett has been at our meetings to discuss teacher evaluations from other districts. In May, I know there's a meeting at the county office to discuss teacher evaluations, to meet with the different districts in Summit County, I believe. New teacher evaluations are to be developed by July 1st, 2013, to be implemented for the 2013-2014 school year. The teacher evaluations will look at both observations as well as walkthroughs, and our district's been using walkthroughs for several years now. The administrators have been trained in how to use walkthroughs so they're consistent from building to building, as well as we teachers being made aware of the format for those walkthroughs. So we've been using those several years now. We're used to using those. To wrap it all up, the new teacher evaluation system will be a blend of the art of teaching as well as the science of teaching. And it'll also be a blend of teacher performance as well as student performance, student growth, 50-50. So that's what we know. It's a work in progress. That's what we learned at the March 5th meeting in Mansfield. All right.
Thank
Ms. Phillips? Good.
One of the things we wanted to do tonight is just to highlight a couple other things in depth, but also we just kind of want to review. And so we created this handout just to remind you that everyone in the state who got a Race to the Top grant had to have the same pretty well contents in them. So I just kind of highlighted them there for you. We have to develop how to roll out the standards, and they're new in all of those areas listed, how to talk about assessments, and that FIP stands for Formative Assessment Practices. So they have training coming up in good assessment practices to inform instruction. Denise talked about the OPES and the OTES. The Resident Educator Program is for new teachers. It's like a residency kind of thing that you have to address. Value added, we also have to stay up with what reports are, how to read them, how to use it. The data system is being created by the state of Ohio, which will help house all this testing data, both local and from the state. And you'll see right after that it has RTI. Everything above that, every Race to the Top grant in the state of Ohio for districts has those parts. The part that makes it different is each district might approach how they do those parts, but they all have to have those same parts. So we just thought this was a good time to kind of say what's the same and what's a little different. When you get down to the last section, supporting great teachers and great leaders, we wanted to work on what's called an RTI program, which is Response to Instruction. And we've had 2 days of training with teacher leaders and administrators so far. And what a response to instruction model is where we really look at ourselves and our instructional practices. And we kind of say, what is the most effective instruction we need to have for all students? And if there needs to be some modifications for all students at a grade level, then we do that for all. Then if there are some students that need additional, and so we shared with you that's about 10 to 15% of the students, then we say what are those and how do we implement that? And then if there's even more intense, that's just about 5% of students, then what do those look like? So that's what a response to instruction model is. That's a real quick snapshot, but that is one of the things that's kind of more unique to Springfield's specific part of that grant. The other thing that we wanted to share with you is the state of Ohio, I think they got, help me out, Mr. about 800 million, something like that, Race to the Top. They kept at the state level about 400 million of that, but they are rolling out things that come back to the district. So I wanted to share on the bottom that we did get a grant with 10 other districts and the University of Akron and Kent State, and it was a $100,000 grant over the next 2 years plus half of this year, and it's called Mind the Gap. And we actually had 2 of our teachers go today. And what it is they're saying when kids come out of high school, there's a higher percentage of kids across the state, not just Springfield, but across the state, that aren't quite ready for the courses. So what is it that the courses should be addressing at the university, and what needs to be going on at the high school? So today was the kickoff, and 2 of the teachers from our district, along with other teachers, went to Kent State, and they actually went and watched math and English courses that freshmen are in, so that they then give feedback through the next 2 years on, oh, so what are these courses looking like? What might be some suggestions? Then the instructors from Kent State and Akron are going to be coming to Springfield and the other 9 districts, and so there's going to be this collaboration for the next 2 years about how to mind that gap between the two. The other thing that we get from this grant is for the next 2 years, next school year and the year after, the 10th graders will take a test called the PLAN, and it's an earlier version of the ACT, and it kind of gives us information about where they are. So again, looking at that data over 2 years to help us mind the gap. Where should kids be? They have predictive data that says a score on the ACT kind of means this is what your success might be. So the PLAN will help us predict where we are with that. So just another part of a Race to the Top initiative that we just got part of. So kind of sharing that. It's a little different tonight. Right? Yes.
With the plan, will we purchase that locally?
Actually, it's part of the grant for the next 2 years. They will buy it for every one of our 10th grade students.
I was going to say, if they go through the summit
educational initiative, they can get them a discount.
Oh, okay. We can share that with that
yeah.
consortium.
Mhm.
But they do pay for it for the next 2 years for
Okay.
us. All right,
Yeah, did you
questions?
say it was just, it was English and math? Is that what it was?
English and math.
For the Mind the Gap?
Yes.
Okay.
English and math. And it was really neat today. One of the things that Kent State is doing, which we didn't know, they're using ALEKS, A-L-E-K-S, and their freshman courses are all done in a lab. There's no lectures. There's no everything. You go to a lab, and it actually tests you, and there's an instructor in there and grad students helping, but it actually is very specific to each student, and they have to do their courses through this ALEKS program. So it was quite interesting how they're addressing that. And I think they're finding that they're able to assess where each student is and then move them along at their own progress. So it's kind of a novel approach that we learned about today.
I think it'd be interesting to hear from the teachers who went and observed at some point and just kind of get their opinion on what they think
It's a
can
great
help
idea.
close the gap. So our students are more
And
prepared
I think
for
maybe
college.
like next fall, that will be, they're just coming in May, and then that would be great to do probably next fall. So we'll keep that. Any other questions? Anything?
Nice
Okay.
job.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks.
Thank you, Denise. Item number 5, Technology Department presentation. Dustin.
First of all, I'd like to thank you for allowing the Technology Department to showcase what we've been doing lately. Tonight we really want to focus on how we integrate technology into the classroom and help improve student learning. Of course, we take care of all the day-to-day problems that arise, helping fix technology problems, all the behind-the-scenes maintenance and planning for our infrastructure and stuff, but we work really hard to focus on utilizing the technology that we have to create a positive and exciting learning environment for our students. First thing, I'd like to introduce Christy Hubert here tonight. She's has one of her student helpers, and they're going to show how they utilize the smartboard in their classes on a daily basis.
Can I take this with me?
Yeah.
I'm going to take the microphone with me. I teach kindergarten. I don't stand still very often. With me today, I have Isabella Calloway, who is a kindergartner in my class. And we're going to show you just a couple of activities that we might do during a math lesson. So I'm going to go ahead and grab Isabella a little chair here. Here you go, babe. All right. Does that look familiar to you, Isabella? The stuff up there? Okay. This is just a simple math activity. It's an addition activity. I put this together myself. I made this out of a program called the Notebook program, which is part of the Smartboard software. And it's really cool. It's a free program that comes with the purchase of a Smartboard, and you can go to the website and download that, which I did. I'm going to go ahead and make it full screen here. I'm going to move this around. If you think about a smart board, if you have a smartphone, it's sort of like that. You touch it, it moves. And so that's, or an iPad, and you can touch it and move. So it's pretty awesome. And so these are some things that we've been working on in class. We're talking about addition and adding math number sentences. And one of the things in kindergarten is we have to be able to make a model or representation. And we also have to be able to show how it would work on a number line. And so I'm going to get Isabella a chance here. Isabella, do you think you could do that for me? Go ahead and do the model for us. Okay. What else do you need to do? In my classroom, I actually have tennis balls because their fingers are small. I keep it actually right here on my thing, and she can use that tennis ball to push on the screen, so I should have brought that for her today. Well, I think she did a fabulous job. She looked and she said 5 plus 2. And now, do you know the answer yet? You do? Wow. Go ahead and write it down if you know the answer. Excellent. And so, do you know what the answer is down here? Excellent. Could you show us on the number line how you would be able to solve that problem using the number line? Oops. Yep. You know what? Let's let me see. That shadow bothering you a little bit. Let's see what I can do about that. Where'd our number line go, little lady? Oh, you know what? You have the pen. If you have the pen in your hand, or if the pen's picked up, whatever touches it makes the ink. So that's what was going on there. Whoops, I erased our 7. That's okay. All right, kiddo. So 5 plus 2. Go ahead and give it another shot. That shadow, we have a shadow in our classroom, but it's not as. Oh, she's so good. Whoops. Let me help you out. 5 plus 2. Start at the. Let's get a different color. Go ahead. Oh, she's so good. She knows that she can erase. And what does the answer? Oh, and she's going to even circle the answer for us. She's so good. And if kid, now Isabella, obviously she knew that answer immediately. But she was having a hard time with it. And they might be able to count those and make that happen. And of course, you might be looking at this and saying, only one kid is participating in this right now. You get very creative very quickly. And one thing that I have brought today is I have clipboards for every kid in my class, and they can be doing the same type of thing as she's doing it here. And now we've done this as a whole group activity, and so this is going to become a center in our math centers very soon because it's something they can do. And Isabella, I bet if I move this down here, let me do this. Do you know how to make it go to the next slide? If you wanted to do another one, how do you change it? Do you know how to change it to make it go to another one?
Press an arrow.
Go ahead. So she could do, push the back arrow because Mrs. Hubert, there you go. Push another one. Mrs. Hubert, push another one back one. Oh, see, and she knows she can also touch the slide selector. And so she could independently do 10 or 12 of these, and she knows how to manipulate everything, so it's pretty awesome. She's pretty good at this. Isabella, can you do me another favor? I'm going to have you sit right here. I'm going to give you a dry erase board. Whoops, I'll let you pick. Do you want green or blue?
Blue.
All right, I thought you might pick that one. And there's an eraser for you, okay? This is another activity that's an adding activity also, and I actually did not make this one. There's lots of wonderful teacher resources out there, and I didn't make this one, but I could. And I like the idea. And a student could come. Here he comes. They come. My fingers aren't working quite right. And we could pull down a balloon. Everybody has a dry erase board. Do you know the answer to that one? Can you write it on your board for me? Every kid has their own. Oh, and she knows I always have them write the whole number sentence, so she's just doing that perfectly. I give you a tough one. Do you want to hold up your board and show them, because that is awesome. And we could just, all of these balloons have little math facts we could pull down and practice, and every kid can be doing it at their seat or at the carpet area, and showing their knowledge as well. So it's pretty awesome. You know what, Isabella? Do I have my... I closed the other one. Isabella, let's see. Do you want to write the answer to that one up there, and we can show them our... Oh, just come up here on the board and do it. We'll show them our surprise. We forgot to show them our surprise. Oh, she's going to do it. Oops. Mrs. Hubert should have locked that into place. Okay. Okay. I'm sorry that I'm blocking your view. Excellent. Do you want to do the number line again? All right. Oop. Remember, you started the first number. There you go. And you hop 2 spots. And what's your answer? 4. Now, if she was working in a center, we want her to know if her answer is right or wrong, because we don't want her practicing doing it wrong. Hey, do you know how you can check the answer? How? Put your pen down. How can you check your answer? Do you remember? Are you right? She's right. It can be self-checking as well. So pretty cool, huh? And the kids are amazing. It's so, sometimes I get stuck and they'll say, oh, just do that. And I'm, yeah, I should have thought of that. You're right. You're right. You're right. So good job. And I should have told you at the beginning that I got my smart board in October, the very end of October. I was the first person, I believe, you can have a seat if you want, pre-K through 3 to get a smart board in the district. But of course with that became a lot of responsibility, because I was given the task of leading a professional learning community for both Young and Roosevelt to teach the teachers how to use the smart board. And so it's been awesome. They are so excited about it. It's the smart boards. It's amazing that in October, no one besides myself and a couple of other people that knew some things, a few things, knew the amazing what goes on today because of what we've learned in such a short time. So it's very exciting. So.
Christy, thanks for all the training that you've done with the staff, because
You're
they're
welcome.
really excited about it.
Absolutely.
When you look at our new 712 building, all of the classrooms will have smart boards.
So if anybody would ever want to come check out some of the other things, I could show you tons and tons of amazing things. I built the one that I said I did do. I probably built that in about 45 minutes. I made that. But what's amazing is I have it saved and I can pull it up at any point, you know, so it's time well spent. So
how much of your lesson is spent on the whiteboard?
How much of my day? It varies. I would say at least a couple of hours a day, you know, but kindergarten is such a busy place and you change activities. There's never a long amount of time. It's up, down, in your seats, on the carpet, but probably at least 2 hours a day, I would say. And it's just a great tool. You could put learning videos on to teach new activities and songs into these programs, and it just does amazing things. So.
Question for you. Do you feel the kids are so much more engaged as opposed to how you taught the lessons before?
Yes, definitely. And before you were creating things, cutting, gluing, laminating, and you had restrictions on your sizes. And now obviously I still have some level of restriction, but it's definitely bigger. Everyone can see and be more involved. So, and it, you know, it's green. You save so much paper and lamination and that type of thing. So.
It's kind of their element too.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I watched my 3- and 4-year-old granddaughters yesterday, and I was, you know, the 4-year-old was on a program on the computer before her dad left them. I was like, how can you do that? It's amazing.
It really is amazing. I had only heard about smart boards until this summer, and I went and took some training, a grad class this summer, and once I went and really saw what you could do, it was like, I must figure out how we can get this going in our district. I was so excited about it. So I'm glad that it's something that Mr. Boswell and Mrs. Ganser and Mrs. Brown has done for us. So.
Very good,
Thanks.
Great job, Isabel.
Thank you very much. One of the other things we wanted to demonstrate quickly for you tonight is the document camera that we have here. It's sort of the modern day overhead. Allows us, as you can see here, we have a 3D object we can place under here. A lot of teachers might put books or student work here to display for the class so they can quickly show the whole class something rather than having to go make copies and have those ready for the class. When anything comes up, they can just place it on the smart board. And here, one of the examples Mrs. Berthoff gave us yesterday is she might use a block like this, and when she's talking about the vertices of the block and the faces, she might come up here and number them and point out the edges of the block and whatnot, since you can see the 3D qualities of the block here. So that's one area that she uses it in her classroom. And another great thing about them doing lessons through the smartboard here is all this audio and video can be recorded and placed on their teacher class page. So if a student is out of class that day, or whether they didn't understand the lesson and need a refresher or something, they can go back and watch the lesson just as it appeared in class that day and go through. They can stop it, pause it, look something up in the book, go back. It's just really it extends learning to anywhere students are.
Okay. While we were young, and we were talking about how to present the document camera, I thought we would go to the experts there. I mean, none of us on the district technology team really could adequately express the importance of the document camera in connection with the smartboard. So I went to the experts, and using an iPad, iMovie, and YouTube, you're going to hear from them.
I put the homework on the smartboard through the DocCam, and we work the problems together. The kids are checking their homework at the same time that we're working on it through the DocCam and the smartboard. So I use it in that way. Also, if there's any hands-on activities that we have that I want to demonstrate to them, I work that activity underneath the DocCam that projects onto the smartboard. And the kids have manipulatives at their desk that they use at the same time I'm doing that with the DocCam. And how do we use it? How do we use it? Nicholas.
You use it because so we don't have to write with marker, like a pen or anything.
Okay.
So, and you can just erase it automatically.
That's true. That's another advantage. I can put something on to under the DocCam onto the smartboard. We can write on it, and can we delete that writing off and then start fresh? Yes, that's very nice. That's a very nice point to say. Joey.
I like how it is that it makes me see it better, so I don't have to look down at my paper all the time.
Yeah, that's true. You can really pay attention to what I'm doing, and you don't look down at your paper all the time, do you? Bailey.
It helps you see your homework better, and you don't have to go up and sit down.
That's true. We can see it better. We are learning something new with technology every day, and that's an important thing. And for me, that's so important because that's their life. Technology is their life. I mean, you know, I've taught for a long, long time, and I can get by with a blackboard and a piece of chalk, but technology is their future. So the more they learn about it and the more they use it and become familiar with technology as the smartboard and the DocCam, that's the most important thing. It's their world.
Thank you, Mrs. Berthoff.
So as you can see, these are just some of the technologies that we're using in the classroom. See how it affects the students and how engaged they are with their lessons with the use of technologies. So thank you for your time tonight. Any questions?
With that cube, have you done any geometry lessons in class in our district yet?
I'm sure.
That's really interesting.
Yeah, I'm sure some classes have. I haven't seen them yet.
I think one of the things that, like especially I think at the high school when they are doing experiments, and you know sometimes how hard it is to gather all the students around. If you could, using the document camera, you can do the experiment and everyone in the classroom can see it. It's recorded. If someone misses it, of course they can view it online. And I think that is where our students are going. You know, they're going to be learning more online than just in a traditional classroom. So I think we are making a lot of headway toward that, and the tools that you have graciously allowed us to get have made a big difference in the classrooms.
Well, our technology team has made a great difference in our classrooms. Dustin and Dodie and Christy and Andrea Novicki, they do a wonderful job. We have come just leaps and bounds in the last 2 or 3 years technology-wise.
Thank you.
Can I just make a comment? On our website, the school website, you guys done a fabulous job with the newsletter. I forget exactly what we're calling it. Is it e-newsletter?
The Springfield Spotlight on Springfield.
Spotlight on Springfield, and it's going to be done, what, once every quarter?
Yes.
And the first issue came out about a month ago, I'm guessing, and it is fabulous. I'd like for all of our residents to go on there and see what's going on in Springfield. You know, it's a great thing. Each building is updated. There's a message from each principal, and then there's photos of the kids, and it's really, you know, it really drills down into what's happening in each classroom, in each setting, in each school building and stuff, and it's fabulous. I commend you guys for doing that. It's something that this district has desperately needed, and it's a great tool. You know, you see stuff in the suburbanite from other districts, you know, some what's happening in their district and stuff, and you know, they pay for that. Well, this is kind of our own version, and it doesn't cost us anything. And it's a great tool, and I encourage all of our residents and our parents to go on there and check it out. It's fabulous.
Thank you.
Those smart boards, how much does each one of them run?
Looking at, I think there's, with the board and the projector and all the cabling and everything, about 1,600.
Okay. What's the life expectancy of one of those? Do you have any idea?
As Christy said, we're pretty new into having them in our district, but I've talked to other districts that have had them for up to 10 years and still running strong.
That's a very good investment then. We should look forward to purchasing more of those.
Thanks, Dustin. Great job.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Item number 6, approval of minutes. It is recommended that the board approve the minutes of the regular meeting of March 20th, 2012 as in Exhibit 1.
So move.
Second.
Roll call?
Mr. Hofer.
Yes.
Mrs. Dobson.
Yes.
Mr. Hess.
Yes.
Mr. Dinkins.
Yes.
Mrs. Collins.
Yes. Motion carried. Number 7, citizens' comments on agenda items. Citizens' comments on agenda items are welcome at this time.
On number 13, the resolution of public option, what property are they on?
That'll be Lakemore Elementary School.
Okay, thank you.
Good question.
Okay. Item number 8, payment of bills. It is recommended that the board approve payment of bills for the month of March pending audit, Exhibit 2.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call?
Mrs. Collins.
Yes.
Mr. Dinkins.
Yes.
Mr. Hofer.
Yes.
Mrs. Dodson.
Yes.
Mr. Hess.
Yes.
Motion carried. Number 9, acceptance of financial reports. It is recommended that the board accept the financial reports from the treasurer for March 2012.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call?
Mr. Hofer.
Yes.
Mrs. Collins.
Yes.
Mrs. Dodson?
Yes.
Mr. Dinkins?
Yes.
Mr. Hess?
Yes.
Motion carried. Item number 10, personnel. Employ Christine Suzuki as a classified substitute effective the first day assigned pending proper licensure. Retirement resignations of teachers Cheryl Merrow and Marlene Raker, both effective June 1st, 2012. Resignation of guidance counselor Kyle Sawyer, effective the 2012-13 school year. Approve tenure for the following teachers and tutors who were initially licensed on or before January 1st, 2011, hold a professional license, have appropriate credit hours, and have at least 3 years of experience in the system, and are therefore recommended for a continuing contract, excuse me, effective with the 2012-13 school year pending proper documentation to meet requirements. And they are Leona Jones and Lisa Moretz. Approve the following one-year limited contracts effective for the 2012-13 school year. Megan Babcock, James Mills, Todd Lovell, Beth Burgess, Peter Geis, Alexa McLeister, Tim Burns, Jennifer Hoskin, Patrick Morgan, Lori Henry, Shannon Holtz, Michelle King, Andrea Novicki, and James Grubbs. It is recommended that the board accept and approve the above listed personnel items.
Do you want to go to 10A also?
Yeah, we'll go to 10A also. Item 10A, it is recommended that the board accept the retirement resignation of teacher Robin Chittister effective June 1st, 2012. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Questions? Roll call?
Mrs. Dodson?
Yes.
Mrs. Collins?
Yes.
Mr. Hess?
Yes.
Mr. Hofer?
Yes.
Mr. Dinkins?
Yes.
Motion carried. Item number 11, approval to donate past yearbooks to the Springfield Historical Society. It is recommended that the board approve donating a 2008, 2009, 2010, and 2011 Spartania yearbook to the Springfield Historical Society.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call?
Mr. Hofer?
Yes.
Mrs. Collins?
Yes.
Mr. Hess?
Yes.
Mrs. Dodson?
Yes.
Mr. Dinkins?
Yes.
Motion carried. Item number 12, review of new revised and replacement policies. I need to read them.
Would you like
Would you like them?
Cindy to read those? You received in your packets an update of what those are all about. Almost all of those are revised policies, and a lot of them are a result of House Bill 153, which is a spin-off of Senate Bill 2 that was, or 3 that was defeated at the polls, but this is Governor Kasich's budget bill. So a lot of them have to do with evaluation.
And this is just a read.
This is the first reading. We'll approve them at the next board meeting.
I was looking at it, but just insert language and everyone's,
Yep.
just.
Very minor, most of them. The new one is policy 8451, and that is on head lice, which is an ongoing problem in all schools. And what our policy says is when we discover kids have head lice, they'll be sent home immediately, and they can't come back to school until they're nit-free. That's basically what we're doing now. Now it's in writing.
All right. I can see that. How does the student then follow up with lost time in classroom or instructional?
Those would be medical excuses, so students can make up that work.
Okay.
Any questions on any of the other ones? Okay.
Right now.
Thank you. Item number 13, resolution authorizing the sale at public auction of property. It is recommended that the board approve a resolution authorizing the sale at public auction of the property owned by the board and no longer needed for any school purpose as in Exhibit 3.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion?
And, I think we also should note that Lakemore School, I believe, was built in '29. This would be one of the oldest buildings that we have in the district.
That is correct.
I think it's worth saying that I initially opposed it, just thinking about it. But I do think it is after looking at the building, giving it considerable thought, I think it's a potential liability to us. And as it is, we're not making money off of it. We're just breaking even with the rent. When we look at our strategic plan for the next few years, we're not going to have any use for it. As much as I sometimes dislike disposing of property, I think this is the right thing to do in this circumstance.
And Neil, you're right. We've been leasing the building for, is it 3 years now? I believe at least 3 years. And it's become evident to the district that we're not going to have any future use for it, so I think it's time.
I think also our partners, the Village of Lakemore, I think they're anxious to see that it happens, and so they're behind this also, that's my understanding.
Roll call?
Mr. Hofer.
Yes.
Mrs. Dodson.
Yes.
Mr. Dinkins.
Yes.
Mr. Hess.
Yes.
Mrs. Collins.
Yes. Motion carried.
So do we have a timeline on that then? When?
Dan, what's the timeline?
We'll have to advertise it for a month, and then there's some other legal stuff, but it'll probably go up sometime early July for a public auction date, but that will be in the public notice that we'll give the board a copy.
There's no reserve on that, right?
No.
And the board has the right to refuse any offers or rescind it, so.
Who runs the auction? Will we run it, or will we be hiring a company to run it?
Retzel and Andrus.
Our attorneys will run it?
All right, item number 13, resolution accepting the amounts and rates. It is
I don't know if it matters, but actually it's like 13 was done twice. It's just a typo, but.
Actually, it was.
14.
13's twice.
You're right. It should be 14.
Good
Go to
catch.
14?
Big catch.
Nice catch. There you go. Number 14, resolution accepting the amounts and rates. It is recommended that the board approve a resolution accepting the amounts and rates as determined by the Budget Commission and authorizing the necessary tax levies and certifying them to the county fiscal officer as in Exhibit 4.
So moved.
Second.
We have to accept them, correct?
Yeah.
No
You want-
choice.
No, you want to accept them.
If you want the money,
If
right?
you want the money.
If you want your money.
Maybe our
Okay.
taxpayers might not want you to accept them, but.
Now, the Budget Commission, that's through the county?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Basically, just establish the valuation of the township, and basically it establishes the effective millage rate. And how that trickles down to the taxpayers when they get their tax bill, their valuation of their house times the total effective millage rate that's been certified is extrapolated out, and then that's how they have the tax bill.
So that can change from year to year?
Well, it will change. Matter of fact, historically, a bill called House Bill 920, which started in California, was established to protect taxpayers back in the 70s when property values just skyrocketed. So they basically established a law that enabled their taxes to stay the same, basically. So when valuations went up, the effective tax rate went down. Okay, like you pass a 10 mil levy and your house is $100,000 in California, say it goes up to $200,000, then they would basically take your effective tax rate in half to keep it as if it's $100,000, because basically you'd have to vote for new money. Well, in Ohio, and especially northeastern Ohio, for the first time in history, valuations are going down. So what's happening is effective tax rates are going up.
Based on the loss of value.
Based on the loss of value. The biggest misconception that the taxpayer has, and everybody would have it, and I had it before I became a treasurer, is, oh, if my valuation goes down 30%, my tax bill should go down accordingly 30%. And it doesn't. It goes down, but it'll only go down based on the inside millage. as a total. You might have somebody's house go down, but somebody else's house is going to go up. It's just one of those things that when you die, you pay taxes.
And you live,
Chris,
you pay taxes.
That is a known
And
truth.
Chris, also, and clear this up, I know I talk to people and there's questions about this, if they build 100 homes in Springfield Township.
That's called new construction.
Right.
And that's actually a very good thing. And we actually got the benefit. I'll talk a little bit about that tonight. I think if you go through the tapes of prior months, I made a prediction that we were not going to collect as much as last year, and the state auditor said we would. I was wrong. And that's good to be wrong, because we actually got more tax collections than I anticipated, which is only going to help us. So, but yeah, new construction is new. So that valuation gets added to the revised valuation that the county calculates. The county goes out, looks at everybody's houses, puts a value on it. The taxpayer has a right to either agree with it or in a lot of cases now, they challenge it. And especially if you purchase a house non-traditional, meaning a foreclosed house. A lot of times people will purchase say a $100,000 house for $40,000, but they're getting taxed on $100,000. They can, if they want, go to the county, plead their case, and we can, if we want, hire an attorney to protect our interests. Now, historically, we typically do not challenge residential properties. We let the board, we let the county auditors' appraisals do that, and whatever it comes out to be, it comes out to be. We do challenge major commercial buildings.
Industrial commercial.
Yes, yes, we do. It's in our best interest. We win some, we lose some. But I think it's in our best interest to at least hire somebody, an expert, to challenge, because you're talking millions of dollars in valuation on a big building. So. And we do, and with Mr. Dinkins' comment, I mean, you go down Sanitarium Road, and I actually was down there the other day because my tax revenues were a little more than I expected, and those homes, for the most part, have been built in the last 2 or 3 years. And there's 50-some homes in there.
Yes.
And I have a friend that lives in there, and he complains about his tax bill, so I know approximately how much the tax bill on those homes are. So I did a rough estimate, and it was a couple $100,000 of new revenue. So that's a good thing, and hopefully this new high school will attract more of that. That's one of the benefits of a new school is new construction.
Did you see that in Mogador? Because I know you work in Mogador. But
unfortunately, in Mogador, we are landlocked.
Landlocked.
We're 3 square miles, and most of the lots are filled. We had some though. We had some behind the elementary school on Curtis Street. If you drive down through there, you'll see homes that are 8 to 12 years old that people did move in. So, a little more than I wanted to talk about rates and resolution, but it's kind of dry.
Roll call.
Interesting.
Mrs. Dodson?
Yes.
Mr. Hess?
Yes.
Mr. Dinkins?
Yes.
Mr. Hofer?
Yes.
Mrs. Collins?
Yes, motion carried. Item number 15, Treasurer's Report.
Real quickly, because next month is the important month. Next month is I'll be presenting the 5-year forecast. The first time the 5-year forecast will be presented outside of fiscal emergency. And although I haven't, wrapped it up, I'm very confident that we're going to see a 5-year forecast that this school district hasn't seen in a long, long, long time. A very healthy 5-year forecast. One of the best forecasts in the state of Ohio. So everybody in this district can be very proud. And we're going to maintain that healthy forecast for years to come. But getting back to on today's agenda, basically what we do is I show you your budget versus actual. We are now 9 months in. We have 9 months of actuals, and we only have 3 more months of estimates. And we're still tracking very well. Our cost control measures are in place. Our employees are utilizing their new benefit package very effectively. I'll give you a little illustration of what we're doing that we haven't done in the past. Is our insurance administrator has sent out letters to our employees that are taking certain types of drugs that have generic alternatives to it, and we don't propose to mandate that people change. It's choice. They have a choice. But what we do is we tell them to talk to their doctors, and if this is a viable option, we will waive the copay because it's to our advantage and to the employee's advantage. They will basically get their prescriptions for free, no copay. These are the things that we're instituting. It's just kind of information. Hey, you're taking this drug, and the reason this drug is versus this drug, and there's no difference between this drug, except this drug right here is on TV every night. And it costs a fortune to pay for that R&D that you're paying. When you see a drug that's on TV, basically the drug companies have to recoup that $20 to $40 million that they're spending advertising. So what they do is they take a drug that costs $500 a month, and in 3 years it costs $25 a month. And then in 3 more years you'll have a new drug. So that's how it works. So we're trying to combat that because it's gotten out of control, and all it does is it enables us not to be able to spend our money where we need to spend it. We need to spend it on our children versus spending it on overpriced prescription drugs. But again, next month I'm kind of excited because next month is our 5-year forecast, and you don't find many treasurers excited about discussing our 5-year forecast, but we are. It's going to be a good day.
Just to clarify, we don't send the letters to our staff. The insurance company sends the letters.
That's correct. Medical Mutual will send the letters to staff members that are currently taking certain drugs at a viable option. We don't get involved in it.
We don't know what medications our staff is taking.
Correct.
No.
No.
I just want to make sure.
Yeah. I mean, that information is available, but it's private information.
Yes.
So anytime we go over the insurance package between between our insurance agent and myself, that information is locked away. Typically, I don't request names, don't want to know names. It's just, you know, what's being taken and stuff like that. Other ways to better manage our assets, basically.
And protect our employees' privacy.
That's correct. It's very important.
Well, the HIPAA laws
mandate that.
mandate.
Item number 16, Business Manager's Report.
Again, food service had a good month, approximately 10,000 in the black, which puts us about 50,000 year to date. And sticking with food service today, Dustin and Mr. Stoffer, me and some food service people met with Meals Plus to go over that point of sale software we're talking about. They gave a demonstration, and they're putting in a proposal for next school year, and we're going to talk to some other vendors and get a few proposals for next year. Hopefully, the food service will come into the technology age. Everything else is.
And that item will increase your sales, because I saw it in my article. Because what it does is it makes everything invisible to everybody else. Meaning, on a grade school level, when you're on free and reduced, it's no big deal. When you're in kindergarten, you don't notice that stuff. But when you get to be preteen to teen, it matters.
Absolutely.
And free and reduced lunch isn't poverty. I mean, reduced lunch, a family of 4, people can make $45,000, $50,000 and still qualify for reduced. So it's not like, what you think, but still it bothers children. It does. I had friends when so that takes it away. You could either keypad a 4-digit number, you could do your fingerprint, whatever device you do. But what it does is, bottom line, it increases your lunch counts.
This point of sale system actually was recommended by the commission 5 years ago that we go to. We just never had the money at the time to implement it.
Well, in Columbus, they usually have a row of those in the convention, the trade
This
show.
was one of them, yeah.
Yeah. You can test them out.
Yeah. So it's real user-friendly too, so the staff will really like it. This past month, we did have the pre-bid meetings for the Schropp roof and the football field house. We've have those advertised. We walk the sites with potential bidders. The bid opening on a roof is tomorrow at 1 o'clock here, and then Friday is the field house at 1 o'clock. So look like there's about 5 to 7 bidders interested, so hopefully we get some good prices. Tomorrow, the high school staff is having a meeting with Gandy and Associates about the abatement over the summer in high school. We had one of these meetings last year with the central staff. Everything went smooth, so just more construction meetings. And we're still waiting for First Student to deliver some proposals. They actually found another site that they're working on, so I know Mr. Meeker's on vacation this week, but hopefully we'll hear from them soon about various sites and proposals. Any questions?
The roof bid for Schropp, we did specify for extra insulation in the roof?
I believe so.
Yeah.
Okay.
Dave Zeller looked at that.
Yeah, that will pay dividends down the road. Reduced heat loss.
Okay, thank you, Dan. Item number 17, Superintendent's Report.
Yeah, the construction project is coming along beautifully. If you've driven by, the building is really taking shape. You can see the roof lines. The gymnasium is up. You can see the skeleton of the roof on that. It's really exciting. They are on schedule and under budget, which is even better. So that's coming along just great. Don't forget our Top 25 banquet is next week, April the 26th at 6 o'clock at Hartville Kitchen. That's always one of my favorite events of the year. It is heartwarming to see those students and those teachers that they recognize. Some of the other things that we have going on is we'll probably be looking at a special board meeting towards the end of this month or early May to approve those bids on the field house that they'll be opening on Friday. Also at that meeting, Mr. Zeller probably will have all of the interior colors for the new school for you to approve, including tile and color of cabinets, color of walls, all of it. We had a 2-hour meeting yesterday. Our color committee did a wonderful job on that, so we're ready to go, we believe. The other thing, I've been working with Dustin when Dan talks about going paperless in the cafeteria. Dustin and I have had conversation about going paperless for our board meetings as well. That is just around the corner. That's coming. You won't need these big binders full of paper anymore. Everything will be done electronically. If you prefer a paper copy, we certainly can get you that. I'm not pointing anybody out, by the way. And that's it. It's hard to believe that we're at the end of April and the school year is coming to a close here very, very quickly. It's been a great year.
Thank you, Bill. Item number 18, items worthy of your note. Dates to remember. May 15th is the next regular Board of Education meeting at 6 p.m. May 28th, Memorial Day, no school.
Hey.
I just can't believe it's almost the end of the school year.
It went by quick this year.
Sure did.
It goes by quicker. Every year it goes quicker.
Thanks, Mary Lou.
I was just going to say that. Thanks, Mary Lou. May 30th, students' last day, end of fourth quarter, end of second semester. And June 1st, graduation, E.J. Thomas Performing Arts Hall.
Yeehaw.
Item number 19, citizens' comments. Yes, sir.
On the building construction, what is the outlook for Roosevelt School? Wasn't that going to be decommissioned when the...
It will, and we're probably looking a year after we open the new high school to try to close Roosevelt and move all those elementary students to Spring Hill while we're moving into the new high school. We're afraid that that'll just be total chaos. So at earliest, we would make that move at semester time, but realistically, probably the following year. And you're right, it will be decommissioned at that point.
So you're looking at 2015?
We'll move into the new building fall of 2013, so it'd be 2014.
And Bill, don't we have to make some adjustments to Spring Hill to get those
We
the young
will.
kids over?
Yeah.
So that's another reason for waiting.
And there's some maintenance things that need to be done at Spring Hill, so being empty for that year makes it very, very easy to make those changes.
And what's nice, hopefully, if we come in way under budget, the way the bond issue is written is you could utilize those monies for major projects, so we don't have to drain down our permanent improvement fund.
That's for the upgrades at Spring Hill and
That's-
demolition of Roosevelt.
And some of the other things that we're looking at with the...
That's if. I mean,
yeah.
there was
Some of the other things we're looking at is if we have leftover money is upgrading some of the materials that are going into that new high school also, upgrading the flooring and things like that.
Oh, okay.
There's
So we can
you
look
have
at
a lot of
upgrades.
options.
So if you remember when we thought we were over budget, we did some value engineering to bring that price down, so we're looking at bringing some of that stuff back possibly.
Because this isn't like taxpayers' money. This is monies that have to be spent on the building.
Right.
That's just the way it is. It's, you know, believe me, if I could get my hands on it, I would.
That's OFCs, right?
That's correct.
Child facilities.
It's 25%, so by
Yeah.
law, there's very strict guidelines and
So we can, in theory, if there's extra money, replace a boiler at Spring Hill?
in theory. We actually did that at Monitor. We replaced the boiler system at OH Summers Elementary on the leftover monies of the 712 campus we built in 05.
And then went to a higher efficiency.
Absolutely. But we only have two buildings, so, you know, I mean, the one was brand new, so we didn't have, there wasn't
Right.
any other options, so.
Yeah, another question.
And also, before the construction, there was 2 signs on Canton Road pertaining to the high school. One was the athletic sign, I believe, and the other one was by the entrance. Is there any provisions for a new sign in the new school?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
I didn't see any on the.
Yeah, there'll be new signs.
Is it going to be an electronic sign? or-
That is one of the upgrades that we're talking about, actually, with
And then would
some of
that
the
be
extra money.
available for advertising revenue?
It certainly could be. That's a great idea.
Because you wouldn't even have to do a traffic study, obviously.
Yeah.
You
Mhm.
know,
Yeah, I never thought
traffic
about that.
load on Canton Road would
Sure.
warrant some advertising.
Especially if it's electronic, that'd be easy enough to do.
To tie in, Kent Roosevelt, one of our arch rivals, has a new electronic sign out front. I pass it every day, and it is scrolling 24/7. That would be an excellent way to advertise things in this district.
Wadsworth High School has one also.
Okay. Item number 20, executive session. It is recommended that the board go into executive session at this time to discuss personnel, and negotiations.
So move.
Second.
Roll call?
Mr. Hess.
Yes.
Mr. Hofer.
Yes.
Mrs. Dodson.
Yes.
Mrs. Collins.
Yes.
Mr. Dinkins.
Yes.
Motion carried.
We're going to have executive session right here.